If you can maybe hear some birds in the background, that's because they have literally not stopped singing in the backyard all day, but it's too hot to close the window and they sound nice anyway, so if you can hear them, it's not the end of the world. Anyway, baking bread, it's actually pretty easy once you get down to it. Sometimes it takes ridiculously long, but it's usually easy. With that, let's move on to how to make this ciabatta bread with the added bonus of being lazy and just not doing any of the fancy shit. Except the required fancy shit. That needs to stay, but the superfluous fancy shit can go. Ingredients: 4 cups bread flour, 2 cups water, 1/4 teaspoon instant yeast or active dry yeast, 1½ teaspoon salt, 1/2 teaspoon olive oil. Now, you'll want to set aside some proper time to do this, maybe do it over the weekend, because while the actual steps are easy, it takes time. We start with making the sponge. In a bowl, mix 1½ cups of the flour, 1 cup of the water, and the yeast. Stir until the mixture is smooth and free of lumps, and then cover the bowl with plastic wrap and stick that sucker in the fridge for a minimum of 12 hours. You can also wait a full 24. I ended up, by pure chance, letting it sit for about 17 hours. Now we go about our day, go to bed, and get up the next morning ready to do some fucking baking. Get your bowl out of the fridge and add the rest of the water, flour, and the salt. You could add the water and then transfer the mix to a stand mixer, but I don't have one in this kitchen, so I made do. Anyway, mix the dough until you're decently satisfied with it, then drizzle olive oil into a large bowl and evenly coat the inside of the bowl with it. Now, transfer the dough to the bowl, and after this, the time of waiting begins. Cover the bowl and let it rise for 45 minutes. After that, gently fold the dough and then let it rise for another 45 minutes. Once that 45 minutes is up, repeat this step. Fold the dough, let it rise. If that got confusing, that's 3 sets of 45-minute risings with 2 foldings. Anyway, once that's done, liberally flour your work surface and let the dough slide out of the bowl onto the counter. Try to handle it as little as possible. This dough is sensitive. We don't want to punch the air out of it. Liberally dust the top of the dough with flour and shape gently. Try not to press on top of the dough, like, at all. Now you're basically done. Add a little flour to a baking sheet and transfer the dough over and let it rest for 20 minutes under a tea towel. Meanwhile, adjust the oven rack to the lowest position, preheat the oven to 230 degrees Celsius. Once the 20 minutes is up, dust off excess flour from the top of the loaf and spray with water. You're gonna want to spray the loaf 2 more times during the first 5 minutes of baking. Bake the thing for 22 to 27 minutes, and that's basically it. The actual recipe had several more steps and was much fancier, but I'm a simple person. I don't have time to gently swaddle my dough in 2 separate tea towels, and I don't own bench scrapers. If you do, though, the link will be in the description.